We're less than a week away from NFL free agency, and we know that the Denver Broncos need to make strategic moves to kind of offset the issue that we have with the salary cap because of cutting Russell Wilson. And they did just that today by letting one of our restricted free agent defensive linemen, Jonathan Harris, know that we will not be offering him a deal, which the NFL calls a tender. So we know we have franchise tags and we have restricted free agents that you can kind of hold on to, but by doing so, you're locked into a certain kind of bracket of what you owe that person. And Jonathan Harris, who played in almost every one of our games last year, had a lot of tackles, but he only started 5 games, was probably going to be battling for a backup job. And we, rather than being locked into paying him almost $3 million, we are telling him, hey, you can go test out free agency. Still a really good chance he ends up back with the Denver Broncos. He was on the Bears practice squad for a while, and we got him back. So I would be surprised if he fetches a pretty penny, but we're going to look at the free agents out there. If you're new to this channel, my name is Ben. I was born and raised in Westminster, Colorado, graduated from Thornton High School, and then during COVID, my family and I moved to Michigan. I miss talking Broncos with all my boys at work, and so I started a YouTube channel. It helps me out a lot if you would like and subscribe. And shout out Thornton High School, because I guarantee you cannot find a high school in all of Colorado that has more devoted Denver Broncos and sports fans really than Thornton High School. And to kind of prove my point, just a couple notable Thornton High School alum that you see on your TVs and hear on your radio all the time. First one, Gary Struski. I remember watching ESPN once and being like, I recognize that guy. And my wife walked in and was like, oh, he's handsome. Yeah, all the girls thought that in high school too. Thanks so much, babe. But Thornton High School alum. And then obviously the man, the myth, the legend, Adam Mares, who kind of started DNVR and is on Bill Simmons' podcast all the time and is a legend in covering the Nuggets. So yeah, that's all. Thornton High School is literally the best. But let's get into the news of the day. And that is, again, this strategic move, why I think it's good and where I think that Denver Broncos could find some value in replacing this move. So again, Jonathan Harris informed today he's not going to be a Denver Bronco locked in next year for certain, because we could have him and he could not test the free agent market. And if we did that, we would owe him almost $3 million. But we said, go test the free agent market. And again, there's a real good chance that he ends up right back here in Denver. But taking a look here, defensive line is definitely the point of weakness here with this Denver Broncos team, that I felt very, very confident in how McMillian played, just coming out of nowhere. Felt obviously we have the best corner on the other side in Pat Surtain. We have an incredible safety duo with PJ Locke and Justin Simmons. So our secondary is locked down, and I truly feel very good about our pass rushers on the edge. We heard George Payton say Drew Sanders is going to be kind of playing that edge pass rusher place. Feel very good about that. Obviously, we had dudes like Cooper show up, look incredible. I remember that Chargers game he just balled out of control, interceptions and all of that. And obviously, I think Browning was rated the top defensive player on All Pro Football Focus, and he came back mid-season with from an injury, and once he came back, that's when our defensive turnaround really took shape. But if you want to point out what is the weakness of this Denver Broncos squad, it truly was that interior defensive line. We had DJ Jones, and if we look at the salary cap issues that the Denver Broncos are facing, he is almost certainly going to be traded if we can get any adequate value for him, but I would be very surprised if he's back next year, which truly leaves the only person left playing that position that you feel really good about is obviously gonna be Zach Allen, who showed flashes when he was in Arizona. He never really showed up as that type of change maker at the interior that we had really hoped for. I think there's high hopes still on Elijah Garcia. As a young guy, it'll be interesting to see what happens at a couple of these other places. So truly, I think if the Denver Broncos want to improve their defense immensely, it needs to be that interior pass rush, because we have great corners, we have great edge guys. We could still go out and is Danielle Hunter an option to have at edge in addition to all those edge rushers I said. It'll be interesting to see if we can clear that kind of cap. We also saw Josh Allen, who rumors had the Broncos wanting to make a run at. the Jacksonville Jaguars franchise tagged him. So he is most likely off the board as an option for the Denver Broncos. There are instances where teams will kind of do a franchise tag and then trade, but those are very rare where a team will franchise tag him and then trade him. Although another rumored free agent for the Denver Broncos, maybe who they wanted to steal off of another team, was Snead from the Kansas City Chiefs. He was just franchise tagged, and a lot of people are wondering with the Chiefs, how are the Chiefs about to pay Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, Chris Jones, and Ladarius Snead? And at that point, you almost wonder, like, if all of the Chiefs' money is going to four guys who are all getting older and longer in the tooth, that makes you feel pretty good as a Broncos fan that, yep, they've won a bunch of Super Bowls, but I don't think that's a long-term option. So I do think that's good news that the Kansas City Chiefs franchise tagged a guy. That means you got to pay him top dollar. You're trying to sign with Chris Jones top dollar, and you got Kelce and Mahomes. I think that really shapes up well for the Denver Broncos. All that to say, we need to find an interior pass rush. So let's take a look at a couple of the different guys who are options, and some of them are somewhat comical because this has been a need for the Broncos for a long time. Like, I remember we had Pot Roast. You remember how big that dude was and how awesome it was having him. And then a couple years ago, I remember a lot of people wanted Colorado native, not Thornton High School native, but Colorado native Calais Campbell here in Denver. And it never worked out, although it seemed as if we were targeting him multiple times, and he is going to be a free agent. 37 years old, as relying on explosiveness. Certainly Tom Brady has made us change our entire opinion on how long a player can play. I don't think Calais Campbell avoids strawberries and eats avocado ice cream, so I don't see him really showing up. So interesting that he's a big name on there, but not a name I think the Broncos should go. We got Fletcher Cox, again, a dominant player at that position for a while, but a huge salary cap hit, and I don't think that's a possibility. This is one that I am not completely opposed to. The number here, especially if this could be just a little bit under that. Could Shelby Harris come back here to Denver? I just remember I actually was at the Denver Broncos Chargers game when he tipped that field goal, and he led the league in batted balls. He is a hard worker, and that's another casualty of that Russell Wilson trade that we shipped him in addition to Drew Lock and Noah Fant. But who would you like to see the Denver Broncos bring into that interior pass rush to complement Zach Allen? Or are your hopes that, hey, we're going to have Drew Sanders be better on the edge and require a double team? We're going to have Browning on the other edge, and he's going to require somebody trying to stop him. We got Benito coming on and Cooper. And so the hope is that you just have so much talent at edge, and someone there needs a double, and we can get a rookie that we draft somewhere in this draft who can help on that interior pass rush. I do think interior defensive line is a really hard position for a rookie to come in and play. Your offensive linemen, you see how these dudes are built, and they just get yoked and put on more and more muscle each year. And you got, a 19, 20-year-old kid who's coming in to play against a offensive lineman who has like grown man strength and grown man wisdom. That's a hard position to fill with a rookie player. But that'll be extremely interesting to see how the Denver Broncos do this. I am very happy to see strategic moves being done, that Sean Payton realizes, hey, we got to make smart moves here, and we can't just throw out money willy-nilly. We got to fix this salary cap problem so that we can make a push for the playoffs next year. Thanks so much for riding with me in Broncos country. Let's giddy up. Oof, man.